and this faith journey has produced is peace and joy. And so, God, we enter your gates today with thanksgiving. We are thanking you that we are growing up in faith. We are thanking you that we are becoming and beholding and becoming change for the time we have spent in your presence. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, beautiful people. How are you doing? I am so happy to be here. Everybody, we're back. We back like we never left. Well, hopefully you're back like we never left. I am excited to be with you. If this is your first time, if you're first live with me, my name is Leonore Reynolds Jones, and I have the awesome privilege of being a proprietress in partnership with my husband of a wonderful kingdom enterprise called Legacy Builders, where we help individuals and couples gain necessary tools and skills to leave a lasting legacy, and that includes building transcendent wealth. Now you're like, sis, what is transcendent wealth? Why does legacy matter? I already have my wills in place. I already created my trust. I already joined some program that's helping me. And I'm like, you know why you need me? Because legacy is more than money. Yep, I said it and I meant it. I'll give you a wonderful example that I often give people about legacy. And I'll use my own life as an example. My father died, unfortunately, just when I was turning 18. Literally, he died about 30 days before my 18th birthday in my arms. And so that was, you can imagine how devastating that was. But what was interesting is that in the months and years that followed, things happened for me, not because I did something to deserve it, but people would tell me, your father was such a wonderful man, or your father, I loved him so much. And so I reaped benefits because I was his daughter. Those are relational blessings from a relational legacy, right? And so what if you intentionally right now today stewarded your relationships, not with the intent to, that your kids are gonna get special blessings, but with the understanding that you can in fact store up relationships that will bless your children's children and those long after you've been born, based on the relationships you have today. And it's things like that we help you. If you already have made steps, we show you other areas of legacy that you may have overlooked. If you have no idea where to start and you are like, look, I like what you're talking about, but I don't even have the money part figured out, then we are your people. We are your people, and we are absolutely here to help you. So scroll your fingers across it, computer, across the phone keyboard. And if you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, I'm going to go ahead and give you that website so that you can know. The website is www.legacybuilders, with a Z. So that's LEGACYBUILDERZ.com. Now that I've told you who I am, it has been my privilege to welcome you to this broadcast and to tell you a little bit about myself and about my company. Now I want to ask you to do what we call the housekeeping stuff. Housekeeping looks like you could subscribe. If you're on YouTube, you can follow me on all social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. You can give me, the good old thumbs up. You can share this broadcast, right? You can do things to show that not only do you support this broadcast, the words that are coming out of my mouth. Excuse me. And yes, I do have water, right? And so subscribe, follow, share. because I am absolutely certain that over the course of the next few minutes, I will say something that I believe will absolutely bless your life. Now that we have done the housekeeping, if this is your first time, we have already transitioned. We have already talked, welcomed you. I told you who I am. I told you why I'm here. And we're just gonna jump right in. Now, jump right in means I have a topic. If you are watching on Instagram live, you won't see the topic, but if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, you will. And our topic for today is 2023. Let's talk about transition. I gave you a little what's that, bonus content, a little precursor as it was in the last couple of days. And those were really organic. This is like God just like pouring out early drip, 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 and you're probably going to get a little flood here, and then we'll, drip, drip, drip for the rest of the week. But so here's what happened. I was preparing. You guys who are accustomed to watching me know that generally I'm only live on YouTube and Facebook. And in a conversation with my husband, he was like, "Well, why don't you go live on Instagram?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have a stand, right? I can prop my phone up on my laptop, but if I'm looking down, I'm missing cues. I won't be able to see comments because of where I would have to prop the phone up." And he was like, "Well, do you need a stand?" And he was sending me a stand. And then I come to remember that I already had a stand for my ring light that I use. And you're like, "What? You already have what you need?" But if you've been tracking with me, you know that that's one of the things that God has been telling me for a long time. And I believe that this is a message for somebody who, friend. I'm going to say it again. You already have all that you need to be successful. It's just one, either remembering that it's there, or you, this phone was that, the thing you put it on. I said the word and now the word is gone. But a phone stand, that's what it is. A phone stand attachment. And so I had the attachment. I finally figured out how to get it on the stand. I used it. I put my phone up and I was like, "Well, let's test everything," right? Because just because you have the thing in your possession, you have to test it to make sure it functions as intended. And if somebody don't already get this, you ain't catching with me today, because I'm talking to you about transition. But one, transition first requires you to take inventory of what you have. And that's what I did. I remembered that I already had the stand. Then I tested it to make sure that what I had was sufficient and that it was functioning as intended, right? Because it matters. Like, what good is if how to use it? That's not going to be beneficial to anyone. So I was like, "You know what? I'm going to test it." So in testing, I decided, let me go live. I went live. I was just testing, testing, testing. And then this gift I've given myself so far in 2023. That great gift that I gave myself was letting go of perfect, right? And if you have not, feel free. Those lives are up. It's on Instagram. It was in my stories, but I made sure I post the entire video to my profile, so you can go back and watch those. There, the first one is like 12 minutes. The second one is like 7 minutes. So it's not a long video for you to catch the gist of it, but pretty much just so that we're all on the same page, so you can track with me in this live. I told people that coming down to the end of the year, and I will, for what I wanted to accomplish this year, what my goals for this year was, I took the time to mentally process like the year, the things that had worked, the things that had not worked, and what I think would work in this coming year. And as I thought about that, I realized that good, that perfect is not an accurate measure for the good. It's not perfect, but so if we take away the perfect, all you have is the good. So that was the first one. And then yesterday, I further this idea, right, of okay, so if we're no longer using perfect and we're saying, okay, we're just going to focus on the good, we learned that when we focus on the good, we have more gratitude, we have more joy, we are able to be more content with our circumstances, even if they're what? Not perfect, because perfect is nowhere on the table. So you can take the circumstances. So letting go of perfect also allows you to be present, right? Letting go of perfect allows you to be present. And if that ain't a word for somebody today, that your family doesn't want you to, be so caught up in fixing and doing that you're never present. Be present. Enjoy the present for the gift that it is. And so once I realized that, okay, I needed to give people a measure, because if you're anything like me, we think systems, we think process, we do analysis and all this stuff, and we're like, I need something so I can know that stuff is happening. So if it's not perfect, we're measuring progress, right? And so that's where we got to yesterday, that if you take your progress instead of holding up a measure of perfection, as long as you've made some progress, then your good is still good. And even if it's not where you want it to be, you can celebrate that you're not where you used to be. So again, we're talking 2023, we're talking transition, and we've talked about making sure you take inventory, right? That was the first thing about transition. You want to make sure you take inventory. What goes with you? What does not go with you? What do you have in your possession that you can use as a tool for your own success? Then we talked about testing, right? Testing the things in your possession to make sure you position them appropriately, right? So I tested the phone thing, and right now today, for the first time on Midday Manna, I am live on Instagram and on Facebook in a very real, tangible way that I can use consistently going forward. Because here's the thing, we are also not instituting momentary or temporary change. We're looking in these transitions to transition from one place, one level to another without going backwards. So what good is it if I had found this case only for it to work for 2 minutes and then it broke, or I realized it wasn't really as helpful or sustainable as I thought, and now I'm going to go back to the two places because it wouldn't work. It wouldn't have served you. And so we want to make sure that in our testing phase, we're ensuring that it is something that we can implement for a long time. So once we've done those things now, and we are here today, and I'm like, okay, I'm live. We've talked about, the transition. We've talked about, the need for progress. And tomorrow, in my short lives, those lives will be always less than 10 minutes. The first one was only longer because it was testing, but excuse me. But as in those short lives, tomorrow we'll talk about a place for grace, right? And how grace allows for contentment. But as we were here and we're talking about progress, the next step is actually implementation, right? So once you've taken inventory, and then you've done your testing, it's time to implement the change. So one of the changes I was making was to Midday Manna, where I was like, and actually being able to post more consistently on multiple social media platforms. So today I implemented, I had done my testing in advance, right? And there's the best benefit of doing your testing in advance so that your implementation process is shorter. Because literally, I had everything set up. I know what I needed to do. I came in, I did a quick check, right? And there's a difference between a quick check and a test. Testing is for endurance, for compatibility, for can it hold up under the strain, all these other things. But there's a difference between a test and a system check. And somebody needs to hear that. Because what if what you're going through right now isn't actually a test, it's a system check? Testing is for knowledge, for skills. Do you actually have the knowledge? Did you acquire the skill? For endurance, for compatibility? Those are tests. System checks are just to make sure that it's functioning as it's intended. What if you're going through is just to make sure that what God has given you is functioning as intended? And you're turning it into a test because it's revealing that it's not. So we're at step three. First, we did an inventory. Then we did a test. Then we implemented. And with the implementation, we did a system check to make sure that it was functioning as intended. And then we executed. So I went live on all the platforms and I did all the things, guys. I am here with you. I am sharing. I am talking, and it is being recorded everywhere. And we are happy. I am happy to be with you. You are happy to have this information, and it will be here at your disposal. And so as I thought about 2023, and last year, in our coming down towards closer to 2023, we started talking about what 2023 meant and how, the decade is the decade of the month. According to the Hebrew, it's Hebrew year 5783, and the decade 80 is pay, which is of the mouth. And we talked about the power of agreement and what it means to be in agreement with things. And we talked about that. Now, we haven't fully unpacked all of it because I do not believe that it is the time yet. Believe it or not, I think we're going to have to slowly walk through the levels of agreement. And I haven't received, honestly, all the information that I need to start that. So, but we know that it's agreement. And so we knew that we needed, to go through these steps. And as I implemented and executed some of the things, what I realized? Just because I did the first two steps, there's no guarantee that the third step was going to run the way I planned. And so what do you do when you actually took inventory, right? You actually tested it. You executed, and your execution did not go as planned. Again, and when we're saying it didn't go as planned, our standard wasn't even that it was perfect. We were just hoping to make progress. And you did make progress, but the progress was, one, either not in the way you intended, or you didn't make as much progress as you planned to. What do then? The first thing I want you to know is what you don't do. You don't quit. You don't quit. We aren't even halfway through the first quarter. Today is the first day of Black History Month. We are only at February 1st. I want somebody who set a New Year's resolution, who had a goal for the first 30 days of the year. I was going to do this, and this was my benchmark. And you were even really amazing. You set a SMART goal. It was measurable, achievable, all the things that they say about SMART goals. You took the steps and you did not get the outcome you want. And you're like, oh, bah humbug. And you're already ready to write this off as the same thing as everything else. I'm here to tell you, don't quit. Evaluate. So I'm going to give you a practical example that, and I'll just explain to you. So one of my goals is to be in the best health of my life this year. And my goal for that is honestly, my first, well, it's a quarter, so I have it broken up. By the end of the first quarter, when I go and take my annual physical, I am looking for a certain response. I want all my numbers, which they generally are in normal ranges, but I want them to be like, oh my gosh, these numbers are amazing. That's what I'm looking for. So I want great numbers. And then by summer, I have a specific look that I want to achieve by the summer. And then in the fall, I want to be able to maintain something for it. And then at the end of the year, I will be evaluating what worked and what didn't. So for that to happen, one of the things I realized I needed was accountability. So I got myself a health coach. Sure did. And I was telling my health coach, if you are trying to be healthy, we know that our bodies are made for movement. And so if you live a sedentary life where you work at a desk, whether or not you work from home, but if you are not active, right? They're saying 7,500 steps is the magic number. If you do more than that, it's great, but 7,500 is the minimum. And if you aren't like having a step tracker or however you do it, if you aren't hitting 7,500 steps, if you aren't doing a regular stretching routine, you're actually not maintaining your health, is the best way to say it. And so I had that goal that I'm going to not only maintain my health, but I'm going to improve it. And so I got my health coach and I'm telling her, man, God did something amazing for me. He got me a treadmill, guys. Got me a treadmill. And I'm telling you about the treadmill because and I'll just tell you what happened. So I wanted a treadmill. And if you know, treadmills are anywhere, even the walking foldable ones that you can slide under stuff, those are about $300. And they can go from the $300 all the way up to several thousands of dollars. And I was like, Jesus, I know you can do it. And I'm not going to, put a limit on it, but I know that presently with my current responsibilities, a $500 treadmill was not in the budget. Honestly, a $300 treadmill was not in the budget. So I was looking for something less than that I could do. Guys, I'm telling you, I have been on Facebook Marketplace. I've been on Amazon tracking every sale. I've been on eBay. I have been looking everywhere for the treadmill for months because in my head, when it gets cold, I'm not walking outside. And so that meant that I needed this treadmill to allow me to walk inside. Y'all, wouldn't you know, I got a treadmill for a can't beat price. I got a treadmill for $25, y'all. It's in my basement right now today. $25. $25. It works. It's foldable. It tracks. It rises and falls. Like the treadmill does everything I need it to do. It didn't, again, I was just like, God, you know my budget and you know what I want it to do. And so here God did exactly what I wanted him to do and got me a treadmill. Guys, so I'm talking to my health coach and I'm telling her, like, I have the treadmill, which is for, okay, it's cold and I don't want to go walking outside. So this was my answer. Y'all, I'm going to be so honest and 100. Y'all know I only walked on that treadmill twice in the last, today, 31 days. Twice. And when I talked to my health coach a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I hadn't even walked on it at all. It had been in my house for already 30 days and I hadn't used it at all. And in my head, after doing my inventory, after testing to make sure it worked, after implementing my plan and executing, I just knew that, all right, this was the answer. And in the middle of and even giving myself grace, because while I didn't walk on the treadmill, I did go for walks outside, but it was just like on the day, the idea is on the days that I'm not walking outside, I'm supposed to be on that treadmill. And I did all of that, guys. I did all of that and it didn't work. And my coach was like, well, maybe you need to take a different approach. And I was like, say what? She was like, how about you start with just one day? And she was like, pick a day, pick a time that day, and tell yourself every week that's the day you're going to be on your treadmill. And when you consistently hit that one, then you start adding. And so what did I do? I didn't quit. But after taking her advice, I have walked on my treadmill every week since we had that conversation. And so I didn't quit. And I gave myself grace. But I realized that there is another way. Just because the plan that you are working didn't work doesn't mean you scrap the whole plan or that you should give up on the goal. It just means you might have to make some adjustments. And I'm telling you these things because this is what I want to see you do in 2023 as we go from transition to transition. We've transitioned from 1 month to the next. We're going to transition from winter to spring. We're going to transition from first quarter to second quarter. You're going to transition from, from where you were currently living to where you're moving to. You might transition in jobs. You might transition in relationships. And I'm telling you this because I want you to manage your transitions better. Now we're coming up on the end. I'm only going to be live 30 minutes. Y'all know that that's my cap. So I'm going to give you the 4 steps again. The first one is inventory. Take stock of what you have as you're transitioning. Take stock of what you have. Because, and I'm, for those of you who are just joining me and you need to hear me say this, because you probably already have everything you need to be successful. It's already in your position. You just have to figure out you just need to figure out where to position it. Then after you've taken inventory and you've put it in a position, you test it. You test it to make sure that it's going to do, it has the endurance to do. Is it compatible? Is this the right position for it? You test it. Then you implement and execute your plan. But a note is that during your implementation process, do system checks. Even though you tested it and it works, maybe you shouldn't, it doesn't actually work where you put it. Because it's a test, but it's not as long of a test. It's a simple, is this functioning the way intended? If it's not, then I might need to do some tweaks. And then once you've done that and you are implementing now and you are making progress, right? You evaluate your progress and you make tweaks, but you don't quit. You don't quit, because all quitting guarantees is that you will never achieve the goal. That's all quitting guarantees. It guarantees that you will never achieve the goal. And if you never achieve it, then you open yourself to the land of regret and shoulda, coulda, woulda, and what if I had stuck with it? And I don't want you to live there or dwell there or have those negative, defeating thoughts constantly preying on your mind. So, having said all of that, I hope this was absolutely helpful. 2023, here we come. Well, 2023 is here. 2023, we are here. I am happy to have been with you for this time. I am happy that you join me on this live. If you want to work with me on any of your goals this year, know that yes, I am a certified life coach, but I am not offering you life coaching. I am offering you legacy planning and self-publishing coaches. It's about knowing exactly where you fit and where you can offer the most help. Yes, I could life coach you, but I believe that there are other people who would be better served as your life coach. I am here to help you effectively manage your legacy. If you don't have an executable plan, then you're probably stuck at the beginning. If you've already made steps, you have a will, you've done your estate planning, I want to help you analyze what remains, because there is more to legacy than just money. So, want to learn more about me and what I do? Once again, scroll your fingers across the keyboard, www.legacybuilderswithaz.com. Book your strategy call. It is no cost to you, and we can talk about how I can help you leave a lasting legacy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I pray that you have a wonderful, absolutely wonderful remainder of your day. And I always tell you, this is how we end the broadcast every time. I pray that the latter half of your day is greater than the beginning. Bye-bye. What I trust and this faith journey has produced is peace and joy. And so, God, we enter your gates today with thanksgiving. We are thanking you that we are growing up in faith. We are thanking you that we are becoming and beholding and becoming change for the time we have spent in your presence.